Well, we're just 1 week away from the start of NFL training camp, and much like the rest of this offseason, all eyes will be on Green Bay. The Packers, fresh off of 2 straight trips to the NFC Championship, but may or may not have reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers when they report to the camp and hit the field. Now, remember, Rodgers finished the 2020 regular season with 4,299 passing yards. Couldn't get one more yard there. 4,300.
A nice flat number.
Yeah. Oh well. 48 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He led the league in numerous statistical categories, including completion percentage, touchdown passes, and passer rating. The man is impressive. Now, number 12, he's holding out, showing us that he's a little fed up with Packers brass there. Only time will tell how this one will play out. But for the latest, let's welcome in our Ryan Wilson, another impressive man that we have. The Green Bay Packers are reporting to camp a week from today. So, Ryan, what is the latest with the Aaron Rodgers saga?
So, Jenny, I've been saying all summer, it feels like, for me personally, there's like a 5% chance Aaron Rodgers shows up, in part because he can be incredibly vindictive and hold a grudge, and also because he's accomplished so much as someone who's 37, 38 years old. You mentioned all the numbers that he had last year. We know he has a Super Bowl title. He's expressed being upset with the idea of some of the players that he wanted on that team no longer being there. They, of course, didn't draft a wide receiver in the deepest wide receiver draft class back in 2020. They waited until round 3 to get a wide receiver. This time around, but there's also the flip side of the coin. I mentioned being vindictive and holding the grudge and trying to sort of turn the screws on people. President Mark Murphy, the Packers president, has a shareholders meeting next Monday on July 26th. And there's speculation that maybe Aaron Rodgers just hanging out, leaving him swinging in the wind to have him deal with those angry, upset Packers fans and then show up the next day, which would be the most Aaron Rodgers thing ever. I still don't think he does it. I think he has other things on his mind, and perhaps some of those things include going to the Denver Broncos, an idea I love. But I wouldn't also be surprised if Aaron says, you know what, let's see how Mark Murphy handles these angry fans who clearly want me to be there because I'm so important to this organization, and then I'll just come sashaying into the locker room the next day and act like everything's okay.
The media would just eat that up. So then we have Mr. Jordan Love waiting in the wings. You mentioned that 2020 drafts. The Packers traded up from 30th to select Love 26th overall. Love didn't play a single snap during Rodgers' MVP campaign last season. So what can we expect if he's the guy?
There's going to be a lot of pressure on Jordan Love if he does, in fact, end up being the guy. And look, college, his junior season, or his sophomore season, excuse me, he was absolutely lights out in 2019. Put up impressive numbers, so much so that scouts and media folks who follow the draft considered him a top 10 possibility. And once the season unfolded in 2020, he had lost a lot of players around him, graduated, some had gone to the pros. He absolutely struggled. You can see the numbers there. We're from 39 touchdowns in 2018 to 20 and 17 in 2019. And he didn't play well. I watched every single snap his last season at Utah State. He has the ability to be really good. And I'll tell you something that Darwin Thompson told me back at the January 2020 Super Bowl. He played at Utah State with Jordan Love, was later drafted by the Chiefs. He said in the right system, and he mentioned Andy Reid and Bill Belichick specifically, Jordan Love could dominate. Now, is Matt LaFleur's system the right system? It is with Aaron Rodgers. We don't know about a young quarterback, so we may have to find out together. But it's certainly an opportunity for a first-round pick to prove the organization right that traded up to get him back in 2020.
Yeah, I was able to cover Jordan Love quite a bit at Utah State, and it all depended on the game, whether it was going to be, you know, extreme success or not. So we're going to move on right now, and there's a lot of talk about another quarterback in the league, and that is Deshaun Watson. So what's going on with the Texans? What's the latest that you're hearing on Watson?
It's nothing. It's been crickets, Jenny, and it's sort of funny. We've been talking about it on the Pick Six podcast, Will Brinson and John Breach, about how we haven't heard anything when in the spring, after the season was over, into February, March, all the speculation was like, where's he going to get traded? Deshaun Watson does not want to be in Houston. Then, of course, we know about the allegations. There have been no charges filed, either criminally or civilly, so they seem to be in a holding pattern with that. We don't know if there's going to be a settlement from Watson's side or what's going to happen with that in terms of the legal process. And that sort of clouds things in terms of what the NFL can do, because we know the NFL can punish players without there being legal proceedings, but the NFL seems to be standing pat as well, as far as we know. So it's a lot of hurry up and waiting for people interested in Deshaun Watson, and those people in the league would be teams that want to trade for him, because there's still a huge market for Deshaun Watson. A popular destination is Philadelphia, even though they have Jalen Hurts. Of course, they moved on from Carson Wentz. They have a ton of draft capital if they want to get in that conversation. I mentioned the Broncos and Aaron Rodgers potentially as a match. We know that Denver, or at least Deshaun Watson's interested in Denver because he told Kareem Jackson that, the cornerback for Denver who played with Deshaun in Houston. Of course, the Miami Dolphins might be in the mix as well. So there are a lot of moving parts, but we haven't heard anything yet. And as we get closer to training camp, we'll have to see what happens. But it doesn't feel like Deshaun Watson is going to be playing for the Texans anytime soon.
So then let's look into some of those other quarterback options. We have Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, Jeff Driscoll. If Watson is out, would you say Tyrod's the clear choice? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's the clear option only because he has the most experience. He only had one start last year before that freak injury led to Justin Herbert coming onto the scene, but he does have 47 career starts. Jeff Driscoll had one start last year, but he's not a guy you want to turn to. He has 9 career starts. And of course, Davis Mills, they drafted in the 3rd round. He's a developmental guy. He had a good career at Stanford, doesn't have a lot of experience. He's not someone I would feel interested in throwing out there right away, in part because he hasn't played a lot, but also because the Texans are considered one of the worst teams in the NFL. In terms of odds, they're the favorite to finish with the worst record. So that should give you some indication how William Hill and Vegas considers the Texans' chances this year, especially assuming that it's not going to be Deshaun Watson. So I think it's Tyrod Taylor. Fingers crossed he can stay healthy and they can string some wins together. But it's going to be a tough, long season in Houston, especially if Deshaun Watson's not in the picture.
When you're looking at that strength of schedule, too, for the Texans, it seems like they're kind of smack dab in the middle. What are your thoughts on their 2021 schedule, and how do you expect it to play out there?
It doesn't look great on paper, not because it's extremely difficult. As you know, it's sort of run-of-the-mill, but the fact that they don't have anyone. Their defense was a mess last year, and that's what Deshaun Watson doing all that he was trying to do, and now it looks like he's on the outs. And their season from start, week 1, all the way to the bye looks pretty tough. I mean, the Jaguars game, is that going to be a win? I have no idea, only because I know that Deshaun Watson probably won't play. The Browns are really good. Sam Darnold will be for the Panthers. The Bills are good. The Patriots, the Colts, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Dolphins will have Tua in year 2, and then you limp into your bye. What is that going to look like? If they have 3 wins by week 10, I think that's a moral victory. I don't know if they're going to be able to get there. Their win total for the year is one of the lowest in the NFL, along with the Detroit Lions, excuse me. The Detroit Tigers might be a better football team than the Houston Texans at this point. So I think it starts with Deshaun Watson. He ain't going to be there. So what's plan B, and how do you make it all come together?
Oh, we shall see. We shall see. The Texans camp, it officially begins Wednesday, July 28th. Ryan, thank you so much. If you're looking for your daily fix of NFL news and analysis, look no further than the Pick 6 podcast. Our guys getting you up to speed each and every day. Their latest about the AFC North training camp and the burning questions going on in the AFC North.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.